How's it going, everybody? My name's Dalton. Welcome back to another episode of Garage. Hang on, something's missing. The heck is my monster at? Can't believe I just tried to do a video about a monster. Unbelievable. Alright, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Garage. And today, we're going to go over everything that may or may not have gone wrong in the open track day that we did, our very first one. First off, I just want to say, if you guys have ever thought about doing one, I know they're kind of expensive. It is worth the full experience. It's really cool people to meet, very helpful people. Everybody's there to do the same thing you are, just get track time, have fun. Nobody wants to get hurt, everybody wants to come home safe, nobody wants to break anything. So, if you are thinking about doing one, highly recommend it. It was the best experience I think I've ever done behind the wheel. This car did very well. I did not break a single thing, it never overheated, I never lost oil pressure. Brakes only faded about 1 or 2 times. I just took a couple easy laps. We went out for 3 sessions while we were out there. The first session was my very first time on the track. I just kind of got the feel for it. Didn't really surprise myself or anybody else. I just had a lot of fun. I watched in between the first and second session. I was watching other drivers, people behind the wheel of MIATAs in the higher classes. I saw how much speed they were able to enter some of the turns in. And I thought, holy cow, I want to do that. So my second session out, I was hitting turns a lot better. I was braking a little later, braking harder, throwing into the turns properly, looking for the candy canes to see the proper driving lines, trying to cut them as much as I could. Having a little more confidence the second session. Then the third session, I was pretty much like, this is the last session of the day. I am going to put everything I've learned into this last session and drive as hard as I possibly can. And I did really well. I was passing quite a few people. I was losing people who were behind me. I entered at the lowest class that I possibly could, which was novice, brand new drivers. I outgrew that class very quickly. I probably could have moved up a class for the last session. I will definitely do that next time I go out there, so I will not be entering as the novice anymore. I think there's 5 classes from starter to competition, pro, whatever. I will definitely be moving up. So let's talk about the things that I think need improvement. Honestly, just more confidence in myself. My car is here. I think I drove the car to this limit, so I think there was plenty more of the car to be had. I'm almost positive I ran a 130 a couple of times, give or take a second or two. That's a pretty reasonable number. I ran the same time on the simulator. This car did absolutely wonderful though. I had 0 issues. It fought hard, it shifted well. The brakes did start to fade a little bit, and I don't know if they're glazed or not. We're gonna take the car out, we're gonna get it washed real quick before it starts raining, bring it back in, clean it all up, and then we're gonna go through a little more in detail. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty surprised I just sprayed that tire and wheel cleaner on there, the one that turns purple with all the brake dust. Considering how hot these brakes got and how much use they got out of them, they're actually not purpling up that much. It's only been a minute though, it says for like 2 to 4 minutes, but I just thought that was interesting. Alright guys and gals, she's all cleaned up on the outside. Now, there is one issue I had, which is probably the biggest issue while I was driving. So, I'm going to put this top down, because now it's all dry. When I was driving, this car gets really, really warm when you're beating the heck out of it like that. And that new shift boot I got is a very pretty shift boot. I just don't think it's necessarily made to handle super high temperatures, especially if my brakes are hitting 400 or 500 degrees. When I was driving, I think it got super hot around the shift boot, and the glue came undone that was holding the boot onto it. So I don't know what to do about that. I don't know if I'm gonna try and re-silicone it. Probably would be easiest, but because everything's all torn up underneath that, let me see if I can actually see it. It was leaking out of the top of that other boot. I don't know if that boot is bad or what, but I'm gonna have to pull this carpet out. I'm gonna have to try and vacuum this thing out a little bit and go from there. Okay, so now the full interior is vacuumed and cleaned up. We've wiped the whole thing down. This driver's seat looks nice again. I love it when the seat looks good. Got the whole interior wiped down, even wiped the cage down. That transmission fluid was everywhere. There's little spots and spicks of it everywhere. So we cleaned all that up. By the way, corner marker light that wasn't working is now working. So we've got all the corners working, baby. Shout out to you, Brian. You gave me the hookup, but give me a hand with that. I appreciate it. But yeah, now we got all the marker lights working. I probably should put more oil in it. I think the oil was a little bit low, but before we do that, I have to stay on task because I'm very ADD. We got to pull all this stuff out and then cover that hole with a bag so nothing gets in there, because we got to pull this off, and the lower boot off that we broke. So I did order the lower boot. It should be here sometime this week. These are all the camber bolts. I got this from Super MIATA or whatever the heck that is. 8 camber bolts, all the hardware and everything. I don't know how to do these. I might bring it up to my buddy Jarrett. He's pretty smart when it comes to this kind of stuff, and then I'll have him take a look at it. So we're gonna go ahead and start. We're gonna take some of this stuff off, dive in and see what she looks like. Okay, so here's the shift boot that I pulled off. As you can see, it's got quite a bit of wetness around the outside of the cone. The whole inside is pretty much wet, unless it's just supposed to look like that, but I'm pretty sure that's all wet. You can even see on the inside of this where that rim fit around there for the insulation for like sound and heat. That was all squishy and wet. You can kind of hear it. Even this piece was a little wet on top, but biggest thing is that this guy was ripped. So there is trans fluid on top of the shifter. Now you can see right into there. You shouldn't be able to see that. So we're gonna pull that off. I have that part ordered, like I said. That'll probably be in the next video. Car cleaned up good though. I don't think anything was stained. This carpet looks fine. Even around here, there's nothing really that I'm concerned with. So I'm gonna probably throw all this stuff in the trunk while people are working in the garage, so that way nothing gets dirty or gets any worse. I'm gonna zip off that lower shift boot real quick and see if I need to add more trans fluid or not to it, because I'm sure a lot of it was removed from it. So here's a close-up. I just pulled it out. As you can see, that's not supposed to be like that. That's why all the trans fluid was coming up from the bottom here and into my cabin and made that shift boot come off. So we got this piece that's coming in. I'm gonna wait for that, pull this one off, clean this guy up in the meantime. This thing looks pretty good. I am going to add insulation, like a little piece of like insulation on the inside, just to keep the heat and anything in the future like this from happening again. So maybe I can check it and it won't destroy my shift boot or get fluid everywhere or cause a bunch of issues, because trans fluid doesn't smell good and it's very hard to get off a lot of things. So I'm gonna try and avoid that in the future. We didn't really need anything else like the little plastic pieces or anything. Clean this up, try and clean that up, put it back together, throw it all in the trunk, and then we're just gonna wait for that piece to come in and hopefully we'll have it by the weekend. The goal is to have it by Friday or Saturday so we can go cruising, because this weekend is the Dream Cruise weekend. I will have plenty of videos for you guys, I hope. Also, we got the cabinets coming in. Those might be in today. That'll go over here because I'm tired of not having any counter space. And then, yeah, I have no idea. More track days, racing events, I don't know. But I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Peace out. Keep turning those gears.